I'm not going to blame a group of people or an ethnicity or things of that nature. That's it. We have laws. But this victimhood, I'm a victim, you got to stop that, man. You got to stop that. Oh, by the way, I got one more. I have this. Okay. We're going to watch a segment with Mahdi Hassan. He had Dean Phillip, who's running for president. I don't know where country he's running on. Nobody even knows who he is.
Is condemning Sunday.
Hey, get out of here. We don't want to deal with it. Where is it? Oh, here it goes.
I'm sure you saw put out a video
Okay.
this week saying the...
So we're going to watch this together. Now, the reason I want us to watch it together is I want you to see how people squirm and how they lie and the hypocrisy, how it shows up when they try to be hypocrites. No, we don't do that. Is this it? Let me get it. No, I don't want to be on the... All right, let's start this. Let's watch this together, guys. Ready? And I'm going to stop and just, comment on certain things. This is Mahdi Hassan. He used to be on MSNBC. He had a show on Peacock, and he had a show on NBC Sunday night on NBC. He was let go, or his contract was ended, and his 2 shows were canceled after an Israeli official came on the program, and he destroyed him. And the Israeli official, they're not used to pushback from American journalists, and this guy just wiped the floor with him, and he lost his show. Now he has his own media company called Zieto. I remember I pay $72 a year for that. Okay.
Biden administration, quote, has been withholding weapons and ammunition to Israel, which I wish were true, but isn't true, as the White House has since pointed out. But it is a Republican talking point and will only help the GOP going forward. Why does Joe Biden, why does your party continue to help, assist, defend, invite to Congress a man who seems intent on lying about your party leader, happy to humiliate Biden and the Democrats whenever he can in public, and is keen to see your candidate lose to Donald Trump in November?
Well, first of all, let me say I agree with everything you just said, other than the invitation, which of course was extended by the Republicans, Speaker Mike Johnson.
But co-signed by Democrats.
Co-signed, out of tradition, but I concur. But your question is, why would we continue to support him? I'm glad you said him, by the way, because so much of this debate and deliberation, I think, is about...
The whole issue, the reason he said, I'm glad you said him, is I'm blue now, right? Because I was looking ugly. I put my blue light on. The reason he was saying him is that he's glad is because he don't want to say the state of Israel. Dean Phillip is a Jewish American who's in Congress. He's very rich. He's a multimillionaire. But you have to know that there's a Zionist in you. I mean, they love Israel because they see that as their getaway in case shit gets wrong here in the United States. But the whole idea is stop pretending. That's what I want to ask you. Stop pretending that you're being fair and balanced between as a leader.
Israel and the people of Israel and the nation of Israel, not enough about Netanyahu, who in my estimation is a disaster for Israel, for the Jewish diaspora, certainly for Gaza. And I wish we would have more conversations about him, just as we should have had more conversations about Trump. I wish the world had more conversations about Trump versus America. With all that said, he is undermining this relationship. I think he's undermining the security of Israel. I think the invitation was in poor taste and destructive. And I think his video yesterday was a summation of how he is disrespecting the United States of America.
What he's talking about is Netanyahu went in a video and just started yelling at the United States. They're not giving them enough weapon, not fast enough. Imagine being a beggar and loud at the same fucking time. This was alluding to the video he did on Twitter.
Okay, and if I were Joe Biden, I would be awfully disappointed.
Joe Biden doesn't know where he's at.
Netanyahu also said in that video, quote, give us the tools and we'll finish the job a lot faster. That doesn't sound like a man who has signed up to Joe Biden and the UN's ceasefire plan. In fact, Netanyahu keeps saying he will not end this war of his until it's reached its goals, destroying Hamas, etc. It's a non-starter for him. These are his words, to do a deal with Hamas right now. So why does the Biden administration keep, I would say, lying and saying Israel has signed up to the ceasefire plan and only Hamas hasn't? We keep seeing Blinken, Biden saying it's only Hamas, Israel's on board, and then Netanyahu keeps saying, no, we're not.
Well, I think there's truth to that, though, Mehdi. I do think Israel will be on board. First of all, this is
Will
all
be
posturing.
is not.
Well, no,
hold
no,
on.
well,
This is a lie. This is a fucking lie. Israel is the one who's making the offer. Once Hamas accept, they say, "Nah, we were just kidding. We're just kidding. It was a bluff."
Congress, you said will be.
they
the
won't-
president is saying they have. The UN resolution said Israel has accepted it.
I believe they have. I don't think they.
Even
I
though
don't
he
think,
says, "Give us the tools and we'll finish the job." That doesn't sound like someone who's up for a ceasefire.
let me just reflect on the ceasefire. It is my not just opinion, but my belief and understanding that Israel will accept that, waiting on Hamas. Now, let's be honest. First of all, I don't like equating Netanyahu with Hamas. I have grave concerns about Netanyahu. I have far more grave concerns about Hamas, but neither of these.
As if Netanyahu has more respect and is not a fucking butcher than Hamas. He has killed 46,000 people, 17,000 children, and he don't want to compare Hamas to Netanyahu. I don't think you should I don't think you should be comparing Netanyahu to Hamas. Hamas is a resistant movement. They're fighting for their freedom. They're not terrorists like you say they are. They're not. They're just fighting for their freedom, my friend.
These entities, the Netanyahu government nor Hamas, have an incentive to end this. Let's just be forthright. Netanyahu knows that when this ends, his political career is probably done. He might be going to prison. Hamas knows, and they've articulated, it's in their best interest to keep it going. They've gotten the sympathy of the world. So when you have two parties have no incentive to end this, both have a stake in this. I do know Israel will accept the ceasefire.
Will
as long
accept.
As, yes,
you said that about 4 times.
Well,
but the UN resolution. Hold on,
say it publicly. They will.
Congressman, but the resolution that was passed at the UN said Israel has accepted it.
And I
Joe
believe that to
Biden
be
said
true.
they have accepted it.
I believe
That is
that
not
to be
true.
I believe that to be true privately. You're saying that Netanyahu
Privately.
has not said it publicly.
He hasn't said it publicly.
I think
he said the
posturing.
opposite publicly, right?
And waiting on Hamas to do the same thing. There must be, let me just make it clear, there must be a ceasefire.
Can we agree then? Okay, let's find a common ground, because I fear we're going to argue even more as we go forward.
Good.
Can we agree that as of right now, publicly, as far as we have any public evidence that I can have as a journalist, Israel, in the form of Prime Minister Benjamin, has not accepted a ceasefire deal?
Have not publicly. I believe privately they have.
So privately, Netanyahu said I have, but publicly he does videos mocking Biden.
I think that's exactly. And that is worthy of a conversation. And I want to make it clear to you, too, and everybody listening and watching. There should be a ceasefire. I've been saying this for months. Release the hostages, have a ceasefire. By the way, that goes back to October 6th. And I wish we had started more conversations right now about the future. Okay. Let's talk about resolving this once and for all, and for our generation to continue to live through this cycle of bloodshed.
Yes.
And then pause, and bloodshed and pause is.
This is an escape route. Oh, we gotta solve this Palestinian issue that's been going on for 76. We gotta solve the Palestinian issue that we've been deliberately sabotaging with Israel and telling Israel you could sabotage it and we'll give you cover militarily and politically and economically. We are a partner to the occupation. Whether I'm a partner, you're a partner. Our tax dollars, $4 billion, go to Israel to occupy these people.
Unacceptable.
Agreed. Just on Netanyahu, before we move on, the top Democrats in Congress, Schumer and Jeffries, did co-sign, you say out of tradition, an invite for him to speak. He'll be here next month. Will you be attending the Netanyahu speech in Congress next month to listen to him lie and smear your party and the president? I know you're not a fan of it. You made it very clear just a moment ago. So will you join Bernie Sanders, a Jewish Democratic member of Congress like yourself, and many other Democrats who say we are not going to go to this speech and be insulted by this guy who's being investigated for both war crimes and genocide?
My whole drive in today to be with you, I spent thinking about this issue. I've not made a decision. I'm appalled by him. I love Israel. I believe the Israel state, the nation, is a dear friend of us, and I think we share more values than people recognize. Netanyahu is a real problem. His government is despicable. I believe Tom Friedman's column in the New York Times just yesterday sums it up beautifully how I feel. I think as a member of Congress, it is my obligation. I was elected to participate. Doesn't mean I agree with people. In fact, I've seen a lot of stuff on the House floor, Mehdi, you can imagine, with which I not just disagree, I find appalling, including listening to people speak on the House floor. So I'm thinking about that right now. I am deeply opposed to his leadership. I also believe it's a responsibility to show up and listen. In the absence of hearing someone, I think that is also problematic. I also know that, let's talk politics for a second. Mike Johnson has a big win on his hands. If half the Democratic caucus decides not to show up to Netanyahu's speech, mark my words, that will be accretive to Donald Trump. So I'm weighing all these things right now. At the end of the day, I'll make a decision.
I'm not sure the American public are fans of Netanyahu. I don't think it will matter. I think they'll appreciate you people taking a principled stand.
Independent voters.
I don't think there's a big pro-Netanyahu movement amongst independent voters. But
there's a big pro-Israel.
They invited Netanyahu to speak in front of the United States Congress without the president inviting him. He has done this during Obama. And what he's saying is, well, we have to show up because the Republicans are going to get one up on us. No, you don't have to show up. You have to be principled. If you showed up for Netanyahu's speech, that means you are co-signing his policies in Israel and his murderous behavior. You're as guilty as he is. Stop this game, man.
So let's talk about that. What's going on? I want to talk about deaths in Gaza from all the weaponry that we have given to Netanyahu, continue to give to an ungrateful Netanyahu. The other week, we saw 4 Israeli hostages rescued from inside of Gaza by an Israeli military and police operation, returned to their families. A very good thing.